Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, Ril Dil Quinn, on this 26th of August, 2021. This is episode 782. Wow, 782. We're getting close to 800 people. We'll hit 800 about October. Yeah, we should hit 800 about mid to late October. Um, I am happy to be back with you. Took a little mini break, mini summer break. You know, need to recharge the old batteries. Not young as I used to be. Still young, but not quite as young as I used to be. Speaking of that, woo, I have a old man story. I don't listen. I don't know if it's an old man story as much as it's as it is a jazz and shape story. So at the gym, um, trying to obviously stay fit, trying to get back into the swing of things with in regards to the gym. Had a little dead period for a couple of weeks, and I definitely paid for it. So this is about went Monday, Tuesday, didn't go Wednesday. So let me pick things back up. Third night, third day in 4 nights. Okay. Third appearance in 4 nights. Okay. So let me get in this chest and arm workout. I'm about an hour into it, feeling good. Listening to some music. What was I playing? I was listening to a variety of shit. I just had a bunch of I was all over the place. Tyler, the Creator, Aaliyah, Rolling Stones. Really, I had, really had ADD as far as music choices go in the gym. So I'm nearing towards the end of the workout. Gonna do a couple more sets before I hit the stationary bike for about 30 minutes. That's how I normally end all of my workouts. So I'm on the ab machine, and I'm on the ab machine that where you pull down, where it has weights on it, and it's a machine. It's a machine that works your abs with weights. Don't have too much weight on it. That's not the point of it, to have as much weight as possible. The point of it is to work your abs, to work your core. So go through the first set, cool. Get in the middle of second set, and shit went left. Like real fast. I get a cramp in my abs, and at that point the workout's over. It's over. Like it's no more. I want to do a couple more sets with my chest, maybe another set with my arms, but no, didn't forget about the stationary bike. That was completely out, and went home. No, it was done. I was done, and getting a cramp is one thing. We've all had Charlie horses, but to get a cramp in your leg is one thing. To get a cramp in your thigh, back, arm, you get a cramp in your abs, it's a wrap. I've literally it's only happened a couple times in my life, but shit shuts down. Period. The workout shuts down. You feel like you're dying. You get a cramp in your abs, and what it told me, cramps come through lack of hydration, which wasn't the case. I drank a lot of water a day, but it's hot outside. Of course, we're in the midst of a little mini heat wave, especially down in the DMV. But listen, let's be honest. Getting a little older, and my core, I don't work out. I don't work my core. I'll do shoulders, do back, chest, legs. The core, I I, I paid for it. I don't work my core. So my core was like, really? You're going, my abs are like, okay, this is what you're going to do now. So I had an epiphany as far as, listen, you can work out. It's cool. I have a goal to work out at least 4 to 5, maybe at least 5 times a week. You got to change. I got to change my diet. Got to change my diet. It's just that simple. Got to change my diet. So more vegetables, less bread, and we'll see how it works out. But it was, listen, it was scared straight when you have an ab, when your abs, when you pull an ab muscle. I'm not going to compare it to God forbid, a stroke or heart attack, but not a good feeling whatsoever. So hopefully, take care of yourself. Fitness is everything, and getting to a point in my life where I can't eat. I used to be able to eat everything and it not matter. It's starting to matter. Starting to matter. Like it does not take me a long time or a lot to get a little mini gut. Put it to you that way. So, those days of eating whatever I want and not paying the price, those days are done. Done. So there you go with my old man workout story. We have a lot to do on this podcast. Again, away for a couple of weeks, but that didn't mean shit stopped. There's a number of things occurred in the world of sports and pop culture. We're going to begin with, if I can pull up this. Oh, here we go. We're going to begin with college football. Of course, a few weeks back, you had Oklahoma and Texas moving to the SEC, and which will happen in a couple of years, and moving out to Big 12. And we know that the SEC is going to be, which was already the mega conference and the premier conference in the country, just got richer and just got stronger. So the rest of college football is basically on high alert in terms of trying to combat and compete with the SEC. So yeah, the Big 10, ACC, and Pac-12 forming this unofficial, non-contractual, as of yet, alliance. Now again, logistics have not been worked out. This is clearly a armchair reactionary move to what the SEC did, what happened, what transpired with Oklahoma, Texas, and moving to the SEC. Now, we know what's coming down the pike. We know that it's going to get to a point where college football has about 4 super conferences, or maybe even 2 super conferences. I mean, if this alliance goes through, I mean, you'll have the Big 12, like who will be left? You'll have the SEC super conference. I don't know what they'll call these 3 conferences. If they join forces, but we're headed towards a situation where you're going to have probably 4 mega conferences in college football, more playoff games. The greed and money drives college football. Money drives college sports, but especially in particular college football. So everything is going to be dictated by the almighty dollar. And, this move right here, I understand it. But the bottom line is, for this move to make any sense, or for this move you want to compete with the SEC, Notre Dame has to be all in with one of these with the ACC if this thing is going to if you have any chance of competing with the SEC. Right now, like Notre Dame is still the most powerful world recognizable brand in all of college football. They have their own television network. Like they're on NBC they're a nationally televised team, nationally televised every Saturday. In regards to Notre Dame football. So to me, Notre Dame football has to be all in the ACC for this for these conferences to have any chance at competing with the SEC. You think about what the SEC is going to have. Talking about Alabama, LSU, Auburn, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Georgia. I mean, like think about that for a second. Like that, there's no way, even combining all these 3 conferences, that you can compete with the SEC SEC's version of a mega conference, super conference, without Notre Dame. Notre Dame is the key. You get Notre Dame, you have Clemson, Ohio State, Michigan. Now we're talking Penn State, USC, Oregon. Now you have something. If Florida State can never get back, then who knows when that'll happen. Now it's a conversation. Without Notre Dame, it's absolutely not a conversation whatsoever. Also, you have the Pac-12 will not expand. They decided not to expand. And frankly, they probably don't, if this thing goes through, they won't, frankly, won't need to expand. There's basically, I shouldn't say nothing left in the Big 12, but the Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma is just is borderline non-existent. You still have some quality, some good teams, but those two teams were the pillars of that conference. Those two teams made that conference go on the field as well as off the field in regards to the money. So again, college football is headed we're headed towards a new era of college football, and it's going to happen sooner than later. But to me, this is the big thing about this alliance is it means to me nothing without Notre Dame being committing to the ACC and committing fully to the ACC and not doing their own thing independently, minus the conference. So we have two of the biggest stars in all of hip hop, in all of music going at it. And I want to say I'm fully I'm all in with this beef in regards to Kanye and Drake. I'm completely all in, because what you have here is you have some good old fashioned pride in regards to the hip hop heavyweight championship belt. Right now, and let me make this clear: is Drake the best rapper? No, we know he's not the best rapper. But as far as the biggest star, as far as the guy, no one moves the culture like Drake right now. There was a hip hop rap heavyweight championship belt. Drake holds it, pure and simple, and he's held it for basically over a decade. Let's just be honest about that. No hip hop act has had more hits. Nobody, it's not even close. It really is not even close. Now, again, to the Drake fans, he will not be on the Mount Rushmore. Can be one of the GOATs in regards to like Nas, Jay-Z, Kendrick, even Kendrick, Biggie, guys like that, until he comes out with a classic album. Certified Lover Boy could be that classic album, who knows? But the bottom line is he is the biggest star in all of hip hop. There was a time in the early mid 2000s where Kanye West was the biggest star in hip hop. Kanye West is a billionaire worth about $1.8 billion, one of the most polarizing figures in all of music and all of culture, period. But Kanye West 100% cares about wants to be considered the biggest star in hip hop. I don't care how much money he has. That pride, the pride of carrying that title means something to Kanye West, and that to me is where is why this is happening. Now, there are obvious reasons. Both of these guys are clear. Both of these guys move the needle as far as knowing how to draw attention to themselves and knowing that they will receive all the attention in terms of every move they make. Kanye can have 1,000 listening parties, and they all will be sold out, and they will all just basically break the internet. Period. So now, I mean, it's basically a game of chicken. Who's going to flinch first? Who's going to come out first? In regards to who's going to come out first. Now, there are thoughts that both albums could drop tomorrow. Maybe they don't drop till September. But the bottom line to me is Kanye wants what Drake has, and that is the title as the king of hip hop. And right now, Drake is the king of hip hop. You can, whether you love him, hate him, you cannot deny how Drake is moving the culture. Period. That cannot be denied. Now, personally, I don't care when either of them drop. I just don't. And I say that because there's enough quality music out here. And, Drake has never dropped a classic album. And how long has it been since Kanye dropped a classic album? It's been over 10 years, 11 years. That's kind of the album that you see posted, the album that you see on the screen, A Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, that was the last classic album that Kanye dropped. Not the last quality album, but the last classic that he dropped, which is universally regarded as his best work, which is his best work. So I'm really, as a fan of the culture, as a fan of hip hop, I'm not pressed to see either one of these guys come out. I'm not, on my phone on Tidal at 12:01 saying, "Oh, but did Drake drop? Did Kanye drop?" I'm good. I'm honestly, it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of stuff out right now. A lot of quality out. But yeah, I have a feeling that both these guys will drop on the same day, and it'll be similar to, you'll see a battle of the sales, similar to what you had with 50 Cent and Kanye. Though the sales will be much closer. Drake is going to win as far as record sales. So Kanye is not going to outsell Drake. Drake is just a bigger player right now in the world of hip hop. But people are definitely anticipating the Kanye album, both of these albums. People want to see Drake. Can Drake drop a signature album? And does Kanye still have it? As far as, is he still relevant in regards, can he still spit? We know he can produce. We know about his fashion. We know he can we know he can draw attention to himself, but do he still has those bars? So we'll see what happens. Again, I fully expect them to drop on the same day. Speaking of dropping, you had a situation a couple weeks ago, or maybe even last week, where something important happened in regards to the future landscape of sports media and journalism. Kevin Durant and Draymond Green come out with a podcast. It's Draymond Green's podcast, which is called Chips, which really could be a double meaning. I thought initially it talked about Chips was, the amount of rings that he had, and thought it meant that. Turns out, it meant, having a chip on your shoulder. He claims he has a chip on his shoulder. He's going to have guests who have proverbial chips on their shoulders. So they do it. So Draymond Green does an interview with Durant. I gotta give Draymond Green credit. It was well done. He asked legitimate questions. It was not a buddy type deal where, shooting the shit, not really talking about anything. No, it was a legitimate interview. And listen, Draymond, if he gets some more polishing, Draymond has a chance to be a great in terms of sports media. He definitely has a future in it. He's going to be looked upon as being the next Charles Barkley from that standpoint, and he's a natural at it. Let's just be honest, whether you love him or hate him on the court. Now, there was no accountability by either one of those guys in regards to that situation. You clearly saw them shift the blame to the Warrior organization. And I'm tell you right now, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And from a standpoint that after this interview, you had people questioning Bob Myers, you had people questioning Steve Kerr, you had people questioning Steph Curry unfairly, but whether you think it's fair or unfair, they were able to move to shift the narrative off themselves and onto other people, other parties that may or may not be involved in regards to that situation. And where you see the sports media going, the future of sports media, athletes now have platforms where they have the ability to shift narratives or add to other narratives or add to narratives in their favor. And that's going to that is going to piss off or bother I'm not some media people, period. The media, the traditional media member no longer controls the narrative, no longer has complete control over the narrative, over these sports narratives. They don't. Those days are done. Now, despite this, you could have an argument to say, well, this was a one-sided debate. Not even debate. This was a one-sided. This was one-sided. It wasn't real journalism. I would dispute that. But just because you may have that viewpoint, there's still a space in the sports culture for real journalism. The question is, does the average fan that is driven by social media, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, whatever, TikTok, whatever, does the average fan even care about the truth anymore? When sensationalism and the lies or speculation are frankly more entertaining? That's the question. There's still a space for real journalism, but I don't know if the average fan or most fans, I don't know what the percentage is, of course, but I don't know if people actually even care about the truth, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if there's going to be a deep search from the average fan for the truth. So I thought it was brilliant by Draymond and Kevin Durant. Say what you want about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant gives straight answers. He's very introspective. He's very highly intelligent, highly intelligent, and very thoughtful in terms of what he's saying, whether you agree with it or not. He's going to tell you what's on his mind. This is not what he's saying to me. It's not it's not, it's authentic. It's not like a written speech. It's not calculated. I think it's somewhat calculated, but it's like with LeBron. I say this about LeBron. LeBron can be so calculated and so measured that you really don't know what exactly at times that he is thinking. There are times where he, just like, is he thinking this? Or is he thinking what he wants us to think he's thinking, if that makes sense? I don't get that sense with Kevin Durant. I don't. I get what Kevin Durant says. He means. Two different personalities, two different approaches. Both have their own insecurities. Like LeBron, for whatever reason, is just on this, wash king and posting every other day tour in terms of, trying to drive this, the GOAT narrative and what have you. So he's on that right now. But I really think that Kevin Durant is authentic in terms of what he's saying, and believe where you disagree with it, agree or disagree, believes what he's saying. A couple of real thoughts before I let you go here. So Busta Rhymes makes these anti-mask comments at a concert. It actually was a couple months ago. It was like a June, it might have been June 19th. It was somewhere right in the middle of June, mid to late June. It just resurfaced a few days ago. Basically trashing masks. Went into that whole civil liberties, government, conspiracy type shit. Freedom, lack of freedom. The class. He went to the classic anti-mask argument, which makes just zero sense whatsoever. And here's what I'll say: he can have whatever opinion he wants to have, but the bottom line is, he's basically telling you that he doesn't give two shits about you. Now, there have been a lot of things that have gone around about COVID, masks, vaccines. You can fall wherever you want to fall. You can, whichever battle you pick to choose to fight, so be it. I recently just got my first dose of the vaccine, Moderna. Held out as long as I possibly could have before it got to a point where you see the walls closing in with the Delta. I work in education. I did enough research to say, you know what, I'm gonna get this vaccine and hope for the best. But I understand if someone doesn't want to get the vaccine out of fear of a reaction or the mixed messages or the poor messages that the government has given people in regards to this. A mask is not going to physically do any damage. It has been proven that masks don't stop COVID, but increase the percentages that you won't get it. So it's like or decreases the percentages that you will get it. So if a mask decreases the percentages by say 20 or 30%, put the fucking mask on. It doesn't compromise your breathing. It's like you can still have conversations. You can still eat. You can take you take the mask off and then eat. Like you can be in a restaurant. Yeah, he's talking about I can't eat without a mask. No, Buster, take the motherfucking mask off, eat, drink, and go about your business. Like I do it all the time. We do. It's really not that complicated. It's not. But if you subscribe to what he's saying, he's basically saying he does not give a shit about you, about your safety as a human being. That's what he's that is a message that he's giving to you. If he's telling you not to wear a mask or saying fuck masks, doesn't care about you. Because masks are clearly a way to somewhat prevent catching this disease that has killed millions of people, that's affected millions of people and killed hundreds of thousands of people. And again, Busta Rhymes is not a doctor, infections, disease, an infectious disease expert. So to me, you take what he says with less than a grain of salt. Busta Rhymes is a rapper. Great, was once a great rapper, a legend without question. Loved his last album that came out last year, but he's not the guy you want to be listening to on advice about COVID. But the unfortunate part is he is an influencer and he is a celebrity, and there will be thousands of people out there who say, yep, I told you about the mask. Look what Busta said. And, they'll continue on and put their lives in harm's way and put other people's lives in harm's way for that matter, in regards to that. So don't listen to Busta Rhymes. Comments are idiotic, don't make any sense whatsoever. And, wear a mask. SHA'CARRI Richardson had a rough weekend on Saturday. at the Prefontaine Classic. She finishes in the 100 meters in last place. She withdrew from the 200 meters, probably out of embarrassment. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna go the uplifting Black woman route for this one. So brace yourself. SHA'CARRI Richardson, when SHA'CARRI Richardson was tested positive for a drug, for a drug, and basically couldn't participate in the Olympics. I didn't care from the standpoint of her not being able to run that race. I care from the standpoint of I hope she attends to her mental health, considering what she had went through with her family, with her mother and what have you, and what she was going through. I said, so forget about the Olympics. She's 21 years old. She'll have other opportunities. Care about her mental health. And I support her from that standpoint. She broke the rules. She took it on the chin. She acknowledged that she made a mistake and handled it like as professional as you can possibly, handled it with grace and dignity in the whole nine. But with that being said, after that, she talked a whole bunch of shit. We saw her tweet, and I'm paraphrasing in regards to basically saying the Olympics, the Olympics wouldn't be the same without her in regards to the track and field. She talked a bunch of shit about, about the other girls from Jamaica. And if you're gonna talk shit, and I understand that you, as an athlete, when you get to that level, these, track and field, these athletes are some of the most confident people on earth, especially track and field. It's an individual race a lot of times, outside of relays, tennis, some of these individual sports, you have to have uber confidence to even have a chance. But if you're gonna talk a bunch of shit, you can't finish last. Yeah, you cannot finish last. And you definitely can't talk shit after you finish last. Like say shit like you're not done, you're the sixth fastest woman of all time. No one cares. Like, who brags about being sixth best? We got on John Wall a few years ago about claiming he was the third or fourth best point guard in the league. Like, bruh, stop. Or I don't think he said the league. He might even said the Eastern Conference, which is even worse. You're not bragging about being the best. Shut the fuck up. That's my theory on that. I mean, you're gonna brag, say I'm the best. You're gonna brag and say I'm the second best or third best. And she's talking at this point. She needs to go back to the drawing board, get her mind and body right, and go from there. I don't need to hear. I really don't. We don't need to hear from SHA'CARRI Richardson in regards to how great she is, for a couple, until she wins a championship or world championship, or until she accomplishes more. She has not accomplished enough to be talking as much as she's talking. She wants to talk about mental health. That's one thing. Believing in herself, that's another thing. But you can't finish last and be that braggadocious. It just the game. It doesn't work that way. And because you're gonna get destroyed on it. You're gonna get destroyed on Twitter as well, or in general. And you gotta take these jokes, and you gotta take the criticism as a part of it. When you brag and don't produce, there's a price to be paid. And again, to me, her withdrawing from the 200 meters tells me that she probably shouldn't have ran the race to begin with, to be honest with you. Because she's not like that, I didn't think she was going to win a race, but I thought, top 3, top 5. She's not, that race was not indicative of her skill set, of her talent. Like that, she's not the ninth, she's better than a ninth place finish. We all know that. She has more talent than that. Rachel Nichols is out. not at ESPN, but as far as the NBA coverage she's done, ESPN decided to pull her from all NBA coverage, including the show The Jump. Now, they haven't canceled the show. They somewhat can't. They're going to do it, and there's going to be an NBA show on ESPN once The Jump is done. It's just not. They just going to rebrand it and have a new probably have a different cast of characters, or maybe they will have the same characters as far as same people with Perkins and Stephen Jackson, Matt Barnes, guys like that. But it's going to be it's going to be different. She won't be hosting it. Listen, she had this coming. I don't root for people's downfall by any stretch of imagination, but she got what she deserved. She completely, shitted on Maria Taylor. And the bottom line is the current NBA players did not ride for her, especially the black players. I didn't hear anybody. I didn't hear any current player of note come out and publicly support Rachel Nichols after she made her comments after that story broke earlier this summer with Maria Taylor, in regards to Maria Taylor. You heard Stephen Jackson's and Matt Barnes and Kendrick Perkins. Those guys are not their voices as far as moving the needle in terms of current NBA players. They don't have big enough. Like ESPN is not gonna make decisions based on those guys' voices. It's the LeBrons, Kevin Durant's, the big stars, those the major stars in the NBA, Steph Curry's that move the needle. If those guys come out, you have LeBron, you have Steph Curry, you have even the guy like Jimmy Butler, whoever, you have the main stars come out, top guys come out and support Rachel Nichols. She still would be doing coverage on the NBA with ESPN. When that didn't happen, it was bye-bye Rachel Nichols. We don't even want a sniff of this moving into the next season. So she paid the price. Can't say that she didn't deserve it things happen. She'll be fine. She'll land on, she still has a job at ESPN. I think eventually she's going to probably move on from ESPN in general. That'll be the next part of this piece of this. That'll be the final nail in the proverbial coffin. But she completely did this to herself. No one else to blame but Rachel Nichols. It's just that simple. And now if you're ESPN, NBA wise, you're out Maria Taylor and you don't have Rachel Nichols. So ESPN kind of deserves this as well in terms of this public embarrassment and losing two quality personalities, regardless of what and talented personalities. And Rachel Nichols is talented. She's not great, but she's pretty good. Maria Taylor, I thought, was exceptional. So ESPN, at the end of the day, ESPN gets burnt. Is a complete loser from that standpoint. So again, I have no problem with this decision. Not surprised in the least bit by it. And again, there was no player support from her of current players, and that to me ultimately did her in. Let me wrap up with this milk crate, just insanity. We gotta do better as a society, as a culture. No, I shouldn't say culture. As a society in general, we are. And again, we see something on Twitter, or we see something on Instagram that makes completely zero sense, and immediately it becomes just a trend that just that we have to follow for whatever reason. Someone is going to seriously get hurt trying to do this milk crate challenge. It makes, again, I would encourage anybody, especially if they have any teenage listeners, don't do this. Don't even try to do this. It's not worth breaking a leg. It's not worth a concussion. It's not. It really is. Again, this is the this is the new drug. Not addiction. Attention is the new drug. Clearly, attention grab, but this is to me the type of attention that you frankly just don't want. You don't want nor need this type of attention in your life. Again, we gotta stop being followers as a society, as an American society. You really gotta stop just following, especially dumb shit like this. And the sad part about it is, this is not just teenagers. These are grown ass people doing this. People in their late 20s to early 30s. As it looks to me. I can't just sit there and blame this on teenagers. It's not just teenagers. Let me be fair about that. These are grown adults doing this dumb shit. Be safe out there. Life is already hard enough, can be complicated enough physically and mentally. Don't complicate your own life. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Ril Dil Podcast. I will see you next time. Enjoy your weekend. I'm out.